Morning, grade 9. I hope you're all doing well and I hope you enjoy the lesson. So, today we're looking at moving ice, which is another feature of erosion and deposition that is associated with glaciated landscapes. We will be on page 112 and 114 today. Alright. So, it's quite hard to believe that ice can move over land, but it can very slowly. Moving ice is found on land in glaciers. There are two kinds of glaciers. There are valley glaciers, which are like huge frozen rivers and they move very slowly downhill. They are also found in the high mountain ranges such as the Alps or the Himalayas. If you've ever heard of that places before, you can see a valley glacier in this photo. And continental glaciers are ice sheets thousands of meters thick that cover large parts of the continent. So here you can see we have a thick piece of ice that is covering a big area, right? The only ice sheets today that are left are in Antarctica and Greenland. Right, so as a glacier flows over the land, unfrozen water in the bottom of the glacier gets into the cracks of the rock, where it freezes and expands, right? So as this water and glacier flows over land, it goes into the rocks and then it starts freezing and it expands, right? So this is also an example of weathering that we did when water can fall in between the cracks of the rock, right? Pieces of rock are loosened in this way, and the moving glacier then pulls them along with it as it moves. The pieces of rock at the bottom of the glacier scrape along the land and help to erode it. When a glacier melts, it drops its load. Glacier erosion and deposition form very distinctive features, some of which are found in places like England or South Africa, where there are no glaciers today. Their presence in places like these tell us where glaciers once were, and it gives us information about the climate in the past. Right, so that's just a little introduction of how the ice moves through the glaciers and also how it is formed. And you are more than welcome to go and reread page 112. But we're going to move on and look at the features of erosion. The first one we're going to look at is striations, right? So striations are scratches in a rock that are caused as the rock at the bottom of the glacier moves over land, right? So this is at the bottom of the glacier. So as the glacier is slowly moving over the land, it's basically scratching and scraping on the land, and then it forms these little scratches on the rock. So they provide information about the direction in which the glacier once moved. The striated rock has been found in several parts of South Africa, telling us that there was once ice here, right? Once again, we have an example of a picture with a striation, and we can see all the little scratches that were formed. The second feature of erosion we'll be looking at is U-shaped valleys. So this is when a glacier moves down its valley, it deepens and widens it. So any spurs that were there before are now worn away, right? So this V shape of the valley now changes to a U shape. So here in the picture you can see the U shape is clearly seen in the middle, and often a stream like a river runs along the bottom of the valley after the ice has melted. right? So in this picture we can see an example of, in the middle there is a U shape that is formed between this valley, and there we can also see some water, which is the stream that is flowing down the valley. Then the last feature of erosion is horns. So this is when there is more than one glacier on a mountain. They erode it on several sides. This erosion eventually forms a sharp peak called a horn, right? So here in this photo you can see another example of how this glacier formed such a sharp point that at the top of it, it's like a point, right? And that's why they call it a horn, because it looks like the horn of an animal. And then this is a great climbing mountain for people who like to climb, and it's a challenge that is done by many people as well. Okay, moving on to the features of deposition, we will be having a look at another three. So the first one is erratics. So erratics are large boulders that were transported by glaciers and deposited somewhere else when the ice melted. Right, so these are larger rocks or boulders that was basically left over from the glaciers, and once the ice melted, wherever they stopped or the glacier stopped, that's where they landed, right? And they were just deposited anyway. They often look out of place, and they are made of a rock that is different from the rock where they have been deposited from. Right, so in this photo you can see it, the rock is shaped very unusual and strange, and it's balancing, but not the whole rock is on the land. It's only in the middle that it's being balanced on. So that is an erratic. The second one we're looking at is a moraines. So moraines are deposits of mixture of materials that a glacier was carrying before it melted, right? The material was carried along the sides of the glacier and was deposited in long ridges parallel to the sides of the valley. The material is deposited at the end of the glacier and forms a ridge across the valley. Right. So this is a mixture of many materials that the glacier was carrying before it melted, and then it was now deposited here. It was carried along the glaciers, and you can see that in this picture there's long ridges that are going parallel, which just shows us the direction that the glaciers moved in, and form little ridges along the valley. And then the last feature of deposition is drumlins. So drumlins are small ridges formed by a glacier moving over a moraine that had been deposited previously. They are shaped rather like a bowl of a spoon turned upside down. So here we can see in the picture there's those little squiggly lines that are on the land, that is the small ridges that was formed by the glacier as it was moving over the moraine, and it was deposited there previously. And you can see that the shape of this is also very strange, and it's not defined. It's little like ridges, and it looks like a line that is going skew, right? Okay, so your classroom activity and homework, if you didn't complete it, you need to write the heading, the page number and date. You read and summarize page 112 to 104, which I just quickly read through with you and explained. Once you've done that, and you've written those headings and everything in your book, the definitions, you then complete activity 6, questions 1 to 4 on page 114. And once you're done, you upload this on ChildCloud. Right, so that's all for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. Bye.